Instagram user Maliar18 shared the terrifying story of a hike that nearly ended in tragedy. While on vacation in Arizona, she and her husband Colt decided to hike in the Superstition Mountains. Colt planned to hike a loop on his own, while Malia stayed behind with their child. Before leaving, he told her he'd be back around 1 p.m. But as the afternoon passed, there was still no sign of him. His phone wasn't responding, and Malia began to fear the worst. What she didn't know was that Colt had become lost in the extreme desert heat. Despite bringing more than a gallon of water and other supplies, he began suffering from severe heat stroke. He eventually lost consciousness, fell onto a cactus, and woke up alone with no cell service and almost no water left. Believing no one knew where he was, Colt fired his handgun into the air as a distress signal, hoping someone nearby might hear it. Amazingly, someone did. A retired firefighter named John Zito happened to be hiking in the area and heard the gunshots. After following the sound, he found Colt in critical condition. John gave him the last of his water and helped support him for miles through temperatures approaching 110 degrees until they reached safety. Around 2:30 p.m., Malia finally received a text from John's phone explaining that Colt was alive and that they were making their way back because Colt's phone had stopped working. Later, they also discovered that Colt had tried to send a message saying, "I need help," but it never went through. Colt later said he believed he was going to die that day. Without John deciding to hike that trail and hearing those distress shots when he did, the outcome could have been very different. A motorcyclist named Arjun was riding through the outskirts of Puri district, India, when he claimed to encounter something out of local folklore. As his headlights illuminated a lonely bridge, they revealed what appeared to be a woman in a long dress standing on the guardrail. Her long hair completely covered her face, closely matching descriptions of a female spirit from Indian legends said to appear on isolated roads at night. The footage ended abruptly and Arjun remained unusually calm, stopping only a short distance away and continuing to film without showing much fear. Others also pointed out that he immediately described the figure as a legendary spirit rather than considering any ordinary explanation. So was it a genuine encounter or a carefully staged video? This person had just arrived at their hiking destination in the Arizona desert when they spotted something terrifying.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Lying motionless beside the parking lot was a rattlesnake. At first, it blended in almost perfectly with the surrounding dirt. But after zooming in, the snake became much clearer. Its natural camouflage made it incredibly difficult to spot. And that's exactly what makes encounters like this so dangerous. It's a reminder to always watch where you step. Facebook user Himanshu Katik was hiking through a deserted mountain area when he heard strange noises. Moments later, he noticed someone in the distance and started recording. Standing on the mountainside was what appeared to be a person with their arms stretched outward, moving erratically. Long, thick hair covered the person's face and much of their upper body as they made strange, unsettling sounds. From a distance, it was impossible to tell what was actually happening. Could the person have been experiencing a mental health crisis, or were they simply behaving in an unusual way for reasons unknown? Whatever the explanation, it's certainly not the kind of encounter you'd expect while hiking through a remote mountain trail. In 1913, French photographer Stéphane Passet came across a disturbing scene while traveling through Mongolia. He photographed a woman confined inside a small wooden crate in the middle of a remote desert. According to accounts associated with the photograph, the woman had been imprisoned as a form of punishment, with some sources claiming she had been accused of adultery or another serious offense. 2 bowls could be seen beside the crate, reportedly used to provide small amounts of food and water. The purpose, according to historical accounts, was to prolong the punishment rather than end it quickly. Passette documented the scene but did not intervene, later explaining that interfering with local authorities could have placed both himself and others at serious risk. More than a century later, the photograph remains one of the most haunting historical images ever captured. A truck driver was traveling through a remote area of Mexico late at night when he noticed flames burning along the side of the road. It looked like a small brush fire. There were no people nearby and no obvious source for the flames, so he slowed down and began recording. But then, this happened.
¿Está quemando qué fue? No, es otra cosa. Ay, cabrón. Se está moviendo eso, pero ¿qué será tú? Está bien raro.
The fire appeared to lift off the ground and slowly rise into the night sky. According to some Mexican folklore legends, these mysterious flames, sometimes called luces malas, are believed to mark places where something valuable was buried or where spirits are said to remain. Others believe there was likely a natural explanation that simply wasn't visible in the video, such as gases, reflections, or unusual burning materials. The truck driver never stopped to investigate, so he may never know if there was any truth behind the legends. Would you have looked? A man was driving through a remote desert. While crossing the empty landscape, he noticed what appeared to be a person standing alone in the distance, with an arm seemingly raised toward him. Concerned they might be stranded, he turned his vehicle around to offer help. But when he looked back, the figure was gone. According to him, there was nowhere nearby where someone could have hidden so quickly. Was it someone asking for help, or did he capture something far stranger? Some tourists visiting the Grand Canyon noticed something unusual clinging to the edge of a cliff.
That's a big fucking thing.
It looked like a bat hanging from the rock. But after zooming in, they realized one of its wings appeared to be pinned beneath a giant centipede. Large centipede species are known to prey on birds, reptiles, rodents, and even bats under certain circumstances, making the scene surprisingly believable. However, from the video, it's impossible to know exactly what happened. The bat may have been attacked by the centipede, or it may have already been injured or trapped before the centipede found it. Either way, it's not something most people would ever expect to witness at the Grand Canyon. In October 2020, 2 lifelong friends set out for what was supposed to be a simple Sunday drive through the remote landscapes near the California-Nevada border. They were 75-year-old Candy Sturgill and 83-year-old Shirley Weaver. The women often explored quiet backroads and scenic areas together. But after leaving home that morning, they never returned. Days turned into weeks as search teams and volunteers searched for any sign of the pair. Then, on November 10th, a group of hunters made a heartbreaking discovery. Deep in a remote area of the Nevada desert, they found the woman's Toyota RAV4. The SUV had a flat tire, its hood was raised, and behind it, the word help had been carefully spelled out using empty dog food bags. Inside the vehicle, investigators found Shirley Weaver, who had sadly passed away. But Candy was nowhere to be found. Search teams immediately began combing the surrounding desert. They discovered footprints leading away from the SUV toward a nearby water source. Tied to a fence nearby, they also found a weathered handwritten note explaining that the women had been stranded for 9 days, had run out of food, and had located a small waterhole. Authorities believe Candy likely left the vehicle in search of help. Helicopters, canine teams, search crews, and volunteers searched the rugged terrain extensively. But despite their efforts, no trace of Candy was ever found. Nearly 6 years later, her disappearance remains one of Nevada's most haunting, unsolved missing person cases. And hopefully, One day her family will finally receive the answers they've been searching for and find some measure of closure. A couple was camping in the desert of Namibia when, one night, they started hearing strange noises near their campsite, as if someone or something was wandering around. Nervous and curious about what they might encounter, the couple looked outside their tent. To their surprise, they spotted this animal outside, playing with a peanut butter jar on the ground.
Je hoort gewoon dat hij hem krijgt.
It turned out to be a honey badger, an animal well known for its intelligence, curiosity, and remarkable problem-solving abilities. They're also famous for being incredibly fearless, often standing their ground against much larger animals. So waking up to find one investigating your campsite in the middle of the night is probably not an encounter you'd want to have. A woman was camping alone in California's Mojave Desert when she tried to film a bright star above the mountains. But as she recorded the night sky, a translucent human-shaped figure appeared to pass directly in front of the camera before disappearing.
Look at the stars. What the fuck is that?
However, after tracing the video's original source, investigators discovered it wasn't paranormal at all. The clip had actually been created by a visual effects artist known as Spark and was intended as a digital effects project. Because the creator was relatively unknown at the time, the video was reposted without context and quickly took on a life of its own. On June 24, 2026, a woman named Karrie was horseback riding with her daughter near Mount Shasta, California, when she began live streaming the trip on Facebook. As they followed the trail, they started hearing strange voices echoing through the canyons.
Where is that coming from? It's like it's way over there, but it's also right here.
Then, Karrie discovered this.
This is straight apocalyptic. Somebody is summoning something here.
Dozens of flower-shaped speakers spread across the ground, all playing different sounds. Unsure what she had found, she turned back after dark. But after viewers encouraged her to investigate further, she returned that night.
And look there is another 100 of them out there. But it's like this Lemurian beacon system. I have no idea. Somebody put a lot of effort into this.
While filming, some viewers later claimed they spotted a dark figure with glowing eyes watching from the background for a brief moment. The following day, Karrie went back and learned the speakers had been placed on private property, next to government land.
Thanks, obey, and love God Almighty, the Most High, the greatest, for world beacon, world peace, and our soul liberation.
Some played religious recordings, while others broadcast eerie chants, creating an unsettling mix of sounds. Why were they there, and who placed them there? Please share your theories. A person was driving through the desert when they decided to stop and film the sunset. Suddenly, something on a distant ridgeline caught their attention. At first, they assumed it was a cactus, but after zooming in, the dark shape appeared much more like a tall humanoid figure. The person filming estimated it could have been around 7 feet tall, though there was no clear way to determine its actual size from the footage. Not wanting to get any closer, they quickly got back in their car and drove away. While on a road trip through the desert, a person pulled over after spotting a massive tornado in the distance. As they started recording, something even more unusual appeared. Sunlight broke through the clouds, creating 2 rainbows near the storm. The incredible scene looked almost unreal. Some viewers believed it was a genuine and extremely rare combination of weather conditions. Others questioned whether the footage had been edited or generated using AI. If the footage is authentic, it's one of the most breathtaking weather scenes I've ever seen. What do you think? Real or edited? Two men were camping in a remote area when they left their truck doors open while setting up camp. Later, one of them climbed back into the driver's seat without thinking twice.
Oh, motherfucker's got the goddamn truck. Johnny! I got a rattle right between my legs, bro. Motherfucker, dude, are you kidding me? Hey, come over here real slow. Oh, motherfucker, dude. I got a rattlesnake in here. No, I'm not joking, bro. I don't want to get bit. Hey, come grab this motherfucker, dude. Are you shitting me? Yeah. All right, bro. No, dude, please don't get me bit. Don't get me bit. Real quick, bro. Real serious. Oh, motherfucker! Oh, you saved my life, bro. I love it.
A rattlesnake was coiled between his legs. Luckily, his friend carefully managed to remove the snake before anyone was bitten. Rattlesnakes are highly venomous, and a bite can become life-threatening without prompt medical treatment, especially in remote areas where help may be hours away. This person came across a strange patch of sand that seemed to be bubbling on its own. Curious, they placed a few objects onto the surface. Instead of remaining on top, the objects slowly disappeared beneath the sand, almost as if the ground had swallowed them whole. After the video was shared, some viewers suggested the unusual behavior could have been caused by air escaping from a damaged underground pipe. Others believed it may have been the result of a natural gas leak or another geological process beneath the surface. Unfortunately, without inspecting the area, there's no way to know exactly what caused the sand to behave that way. Whatever the explanation, it's probably not the kind of place you'd want to keep standing on. Facebook user Stefan Moore was hiking in the desert near Albuquerque when he noticed something in the distance and took this photo. The image appeared to show a dark figure standing among the desert vegetation. At first glance, it almost looked as though the figure was bent over, facing toward the hiker. Unfortunately, the distance and image quality made it impossible to determine exactly what was captured. Some viewers believed it showed a person standing in the brush. Others argued it was simply a pair of desert plants creating the illusion of a humanoid shape. Without a closer look, there's no way to know for certain what Stefan photographed that day. A man walked outside one morning and found his car covered in a layer of unusual dust. Curious, he collected some of it and decided to test it with a magnet. To his surprise, the tiny particles were attracted to it. Commenters suggested it was made up of fine metallic particles released by nearby factories or industrial activity before settling from the air. Others proposed far more unusual theories, claiming it was connected to secret government projects. But without testing the material, we'll never truly know. This is the story of Kuldhara, an abandoned village in Rajasthan, India, that has become the center of a centuries-old mystery. According to local legend, the entire village and dozens of nearby settlements were abandoned overnight after the villagers refused the demands of a powerful ruler. Before leaving, they were said to have cursed the land so that no one could ever live there again. Today, visitors claim to experience strange whispers, shadowy figures, and unexplained electronic disturbances among the ruins. Skeptics argue the village was likely abandoned over time because of drought, heavy taxes, or other practical reasons. But with no clear record of where the villagers went, the story continues to be a mystery. Two men who were working in a cave heard strange sounds and started recording. As they pointed the camera deeper into the cave, they saw this. Two bright red eyes. They The clip ended before anyone could find out what was actually hiding inside the cave. Some believe it was simply an animal reflecting the light, while others thought it might be something darker. But either way, seeing something like that in the darkness of a cave would be terrifying. Someone was on a desert trip when they recorded a strange fire burning in the middle of the desert. The flames appear to rise directly from the ground, with no visible source. However, there is a natural explanation. The phenomenon is known as a natural gas fire, which can occur when natural gas escapes through underground vents and ignites from a spark, lightning, or human activity. One of the most famous examples is the Door to Hell in Turkmenistan, a natural gas crater that has been burning continuously for decades. But compared to that, this fire was much smaller. Still, if you stumbled across it in the middle of the desert, it would probably be hard not to think you were looking at something impossible. These are Kenya's famous Ketum cave elephants. Found in Ketum Cave, these elephants are known to venture deep into the cave to obtain mineral-rich salt from the volcanic rock. Using their tusks, they chip away at the cave walls before scraping the loosened rock with their trunks to consume the minerals. Scientists believe that generations of elephants have helped enlarge parts of the cave by repeatedly chipping away at the rock over hundreds or even thousands of years. The salt provides essential minerals that are often difficult to find elsewhere, making the dangerous journey into the darkness worthwhile. Have you ever heard of this before? During a hike through the desert, this person noticed a strange object hovering high in the sky. It appeared long and narrow, slowly rotating as it remained suspended overhead. Curious, the person began recording. Some viewers suggested it could have been space debris, a high-altitude balloon, an experimental drone, or another piece of advanced technology. Others argued its appearance and movement didn't seem to match those explanations and believed it could represent something far more unusual. Unfortunately, the footage is too limited to determine exactly what was seen. A Reddit user named Is It Worth It shared a photo showing what looked like a giant female figure alone in the Saudi Arabian desert. At first glance, many people thought it was something mysterious because of its remote location. Later, someone explained the figure is actually Najima, an art installation created by Lita Albuquerque. It represents a female astronaut from the 25th century named Elysiria. Even with that explanation, many people still found the massive statue standing by itself in the desert strangely eerie. During a walk outside, this person came across a butterfly with one of the most remarkable camouflage patterns found in nature. With its wings closed, it looked almost identical to a dried, withered leaf, blending so perfectly into its surroundings that it was nearly impossible to spot. But the moment it opened its wings, the illusion disappeared. Bright shades of blue and orange suddenly appeared, revealing a completely different appearance. This remarkable camouflage helps protect the butterfly from predators while it's resting. And when its wings open, the vivid colors can startle potential predators and also play an important role in attracting a mate. Nature really does create some incredible illusions. Now, let's watch some more desert encounters together.